How are you all this morning? I need you all now to be super energized with positive energy, right? Because that's what we're going to do today. Today is Thursday, and we got to start in a very, very positive manner. And what better way to start than to make a dua? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. May Allah make this a pleasant day for all of us. And a lot of people have been sending us text messages, and you know that normally it takes us 2 or 3 days in the start of Ramadan to get everything sorted and everything going. So we're going through that motion today, and we should be all right by tomorrow. My producer tells me that tomorrow everything should be, well, not 100%, but at least we'll get to 90%. We'll be very happy, right? So quite a few things happening in the community right now, in the local Leicester community, but we're still continuing to talk to all the people in different communities regarding the COVID situation and where we are all heading, where we were, where we are today, and where we're going to be heading tomorrow. So a message has come from one of our brothers who has sent a nice message for all of us, which I would like to read to you. And he's saying, wishing you the most blessed Thursday, full of kindness. Kindness can transform someone's dark moment with a blaze of light. And this is so true. And making a difference for another day, let today be the day that we make a difference for somebody else. Sometimes you just need to forget what is gone, appreciate and what still remains, and look forward to what's coming next. Best exercise is walking. So that is a message for all of us. Best exercise is walking. And of course, this morning, when I parked my car, I had to walk. It was almost like half a mile. And that is so true, that the best thing you can do is walking. Wonderful sunny day today. So it's a good message from this brother. Much appreciated. He's saying, walk away from all the issues that you have in your life. And this is a very good message which we all have to respond to and listen to. Walk away with all the thoughts that steal happiness. So all those negative thoughts that you have that are going to steal your happiness, walk away from them. The more you walk away from them, that kind of destroy you, you'll be better off, right? Life can be happier and stressless if we remember one simple thought every day, right? This is what the brother is saying, and it's so true. I think this is a kind of a message I'd like you all to send to us every day. So we read these messages in the mornings every day. So all of you listening in out there, every morning, if you have a good nasiyah, a good message, you send it over by text to us, and we shall surely be able to read it and enlighten everybody out there. So this is a morning bite. We call this the morning bite, and it's very good for all of us. So do send in your messages that you have each morning, then I can read them. And try not to keep them very, very long, because I won't be very good at reading a book. I need to keep them pretty short, and that'll be much better. So that's what today's message was. Be positive, think positive, and do some good charitable deeds. Help the needy, help the poor, right? And this is what the month of Ramadan is all about, to do a lot of sadaqah, a lot of charity, and engage with all the charities that you know of in the city, and let's all come together and make a difference. In Leicester, we have so many charities in our community who are doing excellent work each year. Each year, they all come together in Ramadan, which is very, very pleasing. The charities that come together and do a project together is going to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So let's support all our local charities. You must have a local favorite in Leicester that you would like to support. So please be in touch. Sometimes we don't have time, we are busy with our day-to-day work life, but we must make time during the month of Ramadan to make a difference. Now, today I'm going to just go through some of the local news that is happening in our city, right, concerning the COVID issues, if we can put anything to do with any of the COVID issues. We've had our local FOSS Park, which is now open and very active at this moment. FOSS Park is. And yesterday a friend went there and he says it was jam-packed. It took hours getting there. So there were two roads leading to FOSS Park. One is coming from the Asquith Boulevard. That was completely full with traffic. And another way is coming from Knob Road. That was also not as bad, but was much better there. But a lot of people are embarking onto FOSS Park because it is very busy and so on. So what is the data for coronavirus in Leicester? Understanding rates for the COVID-19 infection across the city is essential for all of us to act accordingly, right? So the last positive tests in the last 28 days, the figures are fluctuating up and down right now. So today is the 13th April, and this is a fantastic graph that gives you information every day. 13th April is the last record that we have, right? We don't have anything as good as to the 15th, right? So on the 13th April, there were only 3 cases in the city of Leicester, which is very good. When it was a peak at 24th March at 81 cases. So you can see a difference, right? It's a very big difference, totally big difference, for that. So that's what's happening. And data for recent 5 days is likely to increase as test results are confirmed, because it takes a little time for you to find out what your result is. So the rate, there is also the Fit for Fly results. A lot of people who are coming back have to do 10 days isolation. So if you're coming back from a red list country, you will be in isolation for 10 days. Now, earlier on, we were told that the red list countries, you have to quarantine in a recommended Holiday Express or Holiday Inn or one of the hotels. You have to stay there for 10 days before you'll do a test and you'll come out. So if you are departing from a red list country, you have to go on and fill on the website the PCR location form. And when you go there, you will have to pay 2 charges. One for your first COVID test, which is on day 2, and one is on day 8. If you are negative on both of those, and then day 10, you'll be free to come out from your isolation. Now, every day you'll get a call. Maybe sometimes you'll get 2 calls a day to check how you are, if you need any support, or if you are feeling not so good. A lot of support is available, but also it is to check that you are where you're supposed to be there, because you can't be playing football in the park and then picking up your phone and saying, yes, I'm at home. That ain't going to work, because when somebody asks you where you are, they already know where you are. So you mustn't try to pull a fast one. I myself was in isolation, and I would chat with the person who would ring me, and I would say to them, what if somebody don't leave their mobile phone and they give their home number? And he related a little story to me. He says, I rang a person and they picked the phone up. I asked for the relative name. They said, he's not in at the moment. Can you call back in 3 hours? And I said, well, where is he? They said, it was a landline call and said he's gone out. So that kind of thing does not work. And then immediately his door was attended to. And he got into a bit of a problem. And it cost him quite a bit of money. So don't do that. If you're in isolation, be at home where you're supposed to be in isolation. And of course, be mindful, because also there are people living at home, and they also have to be in isolation almost, because they have to be isolating from you if you are in a room. So plenty of TV you can watch, and plenty of work you can do on your laptop, and just like I was doing, and that's what you have to do when you're in isolation. So we will have later on more information about the vaccine, because a lot of people are still asking questions about the vaccine, So if you've been for a vaccine, the first question anybody's going to ask you, is it the first one or the second one? Or they will ask you, which one is it? Is it the A or the B? They'll always ask you that question because people are a little bit unsure. So we will have a vaccine expert come and talk to us maybe on Saturday morning and answer all your questions. If that's possible, we can do that, right, on Saturday. So anyone out there right now, if you're listening in right now, send us a text right now. Yesterday, it was so pleased to know that we were inundated with listeners from Trinidad and Tobago, from the USA, from different parts of the world. That is the beauty about listening in from the website. You can tune in on Ramadan.fm and you can catch us on the website as well. So on Sunday at 12, we have the health show with Dr. Shahid Latif, and he will be talking about coronavirus and the primary care and all matters related to the virus, because we must not be off guard. We must be mindful. We must maintain the social distance, and we cannot emphasize that enough, right? Your health is your wealth. So often when I'm looking out the window in the evening at the radio station, I see a lot of youngsters here. They don't respect the social distance. They're not wearing the masks, and this is not acceptable. So we are doing the radio station from the studio, and we are almost locked up in 2 rooms. I, as a presenter, sit in one room, and our coordinator, producer, he sits in another room, and there's a wall between us. So that is, can't get more social distance than that, because there's a big glass screen in between. Of course, we do occasionally have a guest come in to the studio, and he also has to maintain all the protocols. We're allowed 1 guest only, and we have to go through the procedures of checking temperature, checking the sanitizer, and also recording your name. And then you are in a safe environment. And as soon as a guest is left, then a clean down starts. So you cannot possibly do that exercise every day, every hour. So what we are finding is that some of the guests are Zooming in, and some of the guests do attend the studio. So we have maybe 2 or 3 guests only in the studio during the day, and the rest of the day, the guests who are appearing, doing some shows, they're doing it from Zoom, from their office or from their home. So that is a dynamic, what we are saying, change. There's a lot of change happening, and this is where we are today with a lot of change. So we talked about the action calendar. Have you made your action calendar at home? You got to make an action calendar with 30 boxes, and in each box, you got to write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're going to put your dates down, and you're going to write on there what you are planning to do, and then you'll be absolutely well planned for Ramadan. So everybody, if you got a chance, get 1 A3 paper, and you can make an action plan on that. And that it's called an action calendar actually. And you can then write your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on there, and you can start filling in. So you see, if you're watching right now, I have got my action calendar here ready, and I'm going to ask you also that it is a great help, and it's very good. Well, sometimes if you copy and paste it from Google, you'll be in trouble, because the action calendar on Google for a Thursday will tell you, time to organize a virtual tea break for all your colleagues. That means in the office, make a cup of tea for everybody. Well, if you're fasting, that ain't going to be fun to do. So skip that one and write another one instead. So for the Thursday, what are you going to do? You're going to say, well, on Thursday today, I'm going to call my mom. She's in London or wherever your mom is right now. You're going to call her and say salams to her and wish her Ramadan Kareem. And that's the kind of things you can do. So every day, once you've done that, you yourself will feel positive. You'll be full of energy. And that's the kind of thing to do. You can ring your mom, you can ring your dad, you can ring your sister. And I think maybe I'm going to call my sister and see if I can get her live on the phone. And my producer can arrange that for me to call her up and surprise her, maybe get her out of her bed. And that might be fun. And afterwards, it won't be fun because she'll be telling me off. So that happens. I'm sure you've all experienced something like that. So we got to be careful and so on. So often messages are coming on the text, and we read them to you and share with you some of our ideas. Now, today I'm going to share with you a story about one young girl called Aisha. So this last year, if you remember, we did a story about one young boy, and Yahya. He was sadly passed away last year, and we were working with his parents. We did the hospital appeal, the children's hospital appeal, right? Now you can see the importance of a children's hospital in the locality. So young Aisha, she recently passed away about 3 weeks ago, and her treatment was at the Great Ormond Street in London. Now, you know that that is a renowned children's hospital in the whole of the UK. So people come from all over the world, all of the country, they come to that hospital. So in the city of Leicester, inshallah, we shall also have a specialist children's unit which will attract people from all around the East Midlands, because we don't have to then go to London. Now, God forbid that anyone's children will visit there, but if we have to go, we have a local hospital to go to, and we don't have to travel to London. Now, I want to tell you the story of Aisha. So many of us in our community, we read our Quran every day or every week, once in a week, once in a month, whenever we do. It's our guidance, and we get a lot of sadaqah, we do sadaqah, we do charity, we do a lot of things throughout our lives, and to read the Quran is also a very big blessing. Of course, Iqra was what we are told all the time. Iqra means read, and when we have to read, don't think that I've read the Quran and that's it. Read a book. I know people don't often go to a bookshop and buy a book to read it, but at least read it on the internet, read it, a book you've borrowed from a friend. Now it's so easy. You can go onto Amazon and you can order a book and it'll be with you tomorrow. Now, if you're not a reader, don't have to read big books with 1,000 pages. Start with a small book. Now, I'm going to tell you the story about Aisha. She, at a young age, was a prolific writer, and she had a lot of underlying issues from birth, which the doctors had said that she'll have a very short life. But mashallah, she lived to the age of 13 years old, and in that time, she had a lot of ups and downs with her parents, going through the tasks of going to and fro hospitals. And if any one of you know someone who's been through that, or you yourself have been through that, then you will know what it's like. Imagine the pain of a father, a mother, a grandmother, or any of the relatives to see their child in that condition, or to see anyone in the family in that condition. It is one experience which only when you have gone through it yourself you will ever know about it, right? So now I'm going to read you some extracts of Aisha's books. If our producer can get the timer off the screen there so I can see what I'm reading. How can a flower be unusual? What makes it so different from other flowers? So Aisha takes us on a fascinating journey on how kindness, faith, compassion, and generosity allow the most unusual beings to become friends. Her imagination of portraying simple, everyday objects into emotional characters will delight the young and old alike. So this is the kind of things that Aisha would write about. Sometimes we are all so preoccupied with today's fast-paced life that we frequently ignore the pains and problems of those close to us. There are 3 short stories in this book acknowledge such issues how they can be resolved through simple courtesy and basic humanity. Aisha has iterated these actions in a manner most children can relate to easily. So one of our topics is Take a Flight. It's about a little girl's disappointment, which turns into a pleasant surprise. Another one is The Bridge. This one is about troubles are not permanent. That is what a bridge discovers after being bullied continuously at school. So another topic is The Shock. A little help from friends and a simple prayer overcome the constant threats of a dangerous predator. Now, for a 13-year-old to have imagination like that is a person who is going on to become a prolific author, a prolific writer. And without our writers, where would we be today? What would the world be like today without all the beautiful writings that we encounter in our lives? You all have a personal favorite, or you have somebody will say, I like the writings of Mufti Mang. I myself will say, I like the writings of Rumi. And this is what inspires me. So Aisha Bakharani, that is her good name. Aisha Bakharani is a 13-year-old, beautiful, sweet girl whose imagination knows no bounds. She used to write and narrate her thoughts in the most creative way. Now, Aisha, she was the cousin of one of our very close friends here at the radio, and we were all very sad to hear this story when it was told to us 3 weeks ago, right? So she always leaves her readers with smiles on their faces in anticipation of what is coming next. So Aisha has written many small stories which are being compiled into books and audiobooks. The first in the series is The Unusual Flower and other short stories for children, with several others to follow. So if you can all go on amazon.co.uk, and the link is /DP, and I will tell you the rest of that link, and you can see The Unusual Flower is one of the stories. You can find that on Amazon very easily. So you'll go on amazon.co.uk, you'll / and write DP, small d, small p. Then you'll do another / and then you will write B092, all in capitals, C69TB3. So that's what you have to do when you will be able to reach Amazon, and you'll get the right book. And then you can order one. It doesn't cost much. It'll cost you about $6.99. Now, of course, all the proceeds from this book will raise funds, which will then be forwarded to a school where they don't have any books. So if you've been to Africa, you've been to some places in the third world, you will see that they don't have any books. They don't have absolute, very little material. I was at a school in Uganda just recently, and when they showed me all the books they had, some of the books was old that people throw away, and this is what you call a leftover. And they're reading leftover books which are way out of date, and they don't have any access to material that what we have access to. So I think today what I want to emphasize to all of you, the importance to encourage, to drive our children to read, and it is very good for them. It develops them and makes them a better person. So you read about the subjects that you are interested in. You as a parent will also find out the capacity of your child, your child's creativeness when they start reading. So when they're reading Quran, they go to the madrasa. Also, put it into their system that from a very early age, from the age of 5, 6, they start reading books. My young daughter, she was a good reader. She's not reading anymore, but she used to read books when she was younger. And if you make it a habit and never let it go, always pick up a book and read through it, you'll be much better for it, if you read a book. So I was given a book by Rumi, by a friend, and it was very pleasant. I really enjoyed that, and thank you for that. A special thanks to my friend who gave me that book to read. So that was much appreciated. And there are many other books. Another good book I read was Book of Rules, and it was Rules of Life, which tomorrow, actually, I'm going to share some of the readings from that particular book with you, and you'll see the benefit of it. And of course, there is no better book to read than the Quran. And in the Quran, you have many, many very, very good nasihas for all of you, for all of us, and the book of guidance, of course. And this is very important. So today, I hope that all of you are inspired by the story of Aisha. And if you can follow one of our books for your child, it will be much appreciated. So we're going to now go for a short break. And then we shall be back with another exciting guest from another part of the world to share with us some good nasihas. Thank you.
celebrate your Ramzan to our beloved listeners. Um, well, I came here when the second lockdown kicked in to be with my elderly parents and also to support them. So Alhamdulillah, it's been a blessing, I would say, in disguise to be with them. So the lockdown has been, um, I mean, they've not kicked off the lockdown here in Bangalore, but I think there's been a lot of restrictions. There's a curfew which is curbed, I think, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. And they don't want to bring the lockdown because of the economy and the livelihoods of people it's going to impact. But there are a lot of restrictions. The Salah, Taraweeh, and everything is going on in the masjid with social distancing, with the masks and all the other precautions that they have to take. Um, it's it's uh, it's really bad as you're hearing in the news. I think there are about more than 8,000 to 10,000 cases on a daily basis, and it's really surging with the number of cases. But I think the government here does not want to impose a lockdown. They just want to see how things would stabilize after they've implemented this curfew. So and all the restrictions they're putting in place.
So that is city of Bangalore. Where what is the population there?
Um, I think it's probably about 3-4 million, I'd say. Bangalore is, I'm not sure whether most of our listeners are aware, Bangalore is known for its IT hub. It's kind of called as the Silicon Valley of Asia, like California. So you have a large number of IT companies. You can name the IT company which is based out here in Bangalore. And it's very densely populated, and it's mainly IT's the um, sector which mainly caters across Bangalore for all the most of the companies here. Yeah.
So we will check this population in Bangalore, what it is. Our producer will let us know, because 3 to 4 million sounds very low to me for a big city like that in India. India, when
I
I
might be
see the
wrong.
population in
I might be wrong.
Mumbai,
You can Google it.
India's
Yeah.
1.2 billion population. So, it says
Yeah.
8.44 million here on our
Yeah. Okay.
Google meter.
Okay. That's good.
8.444 million.
I
So
might, like I said, I might
very
be wrong.
surprised, Iqbal,
So
for you.
I've had the demography wrong.
We got you
Yeah.
there, Iqbal.
Yeah.
So now,
Absolutely.
Iqbal, tell us, in this kind of situation in Bangalore, you have a very mixed community there, don't you? You have a huge diversity of different people in Bangalore.
Yes. It's kind of a cosmopolitan, I would say, city. It's got all the various religions and communities as well. So you have the Hindus, you have the Christians, you have Muslims, and as well as quite a large population of foreigners as well, who love not only the culture of Bangalore but the weather of Bangalore as well. Bangalore is very known for its climate. So it might be about 35, 38 in the morning, but in the evenings it's pretty cool. So it comes down to 15 or 20. So it's very known for its good climate. Um, and and yes, I think Bangalore has a history of. I'm not sure you're aware of Tipu Sultan. So Tipu Sultan has his summer palace here in Bangalore, and it's about 3 hours from here is Mysore, where Tipu Sultan and his father Hyder Ali has have their own palaces, and as well as his um, all his historical monuments. It's about 2 to 3 hours from Bangalore, so it's got a lot of history to it as well.
Well,
Um,
of course, those
yeah.
beautiful historic monuments and a lot of artifacts are no longer there. But I did read some time ago that the palace was modeled on Windsor Castle, which is interesting. Windsor Castle. So all the people in Bangalore, they never visit Windsor Castle because they got one at home to look at.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's got its traditions and history. So it's a very old city, I would say, and I would say it's a shame now that when I visit every year, to be honest, and sometimes twice a year. So what the old Bangalore is lost its charm because of the development of infrastructure. There's been digging all everywhere. To be honest, every other street you see is being dug because they want to make Bangalore as a smart city, and they want to come up with most of the streets will have Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So it's going to be one of its kind. So since it's got a lot of tech companies across Bangalore, so they want to step up the infrastructure of Bangalore, and it's really in a mess, to be honest. The population is increasing, I would say, day by day, and the number of vehicles, pollution is kind of taking a toll on a beautiful city. So it used to be called as a garden city with a lot of trees and a lot of parks, which you would never find in any of the metropolitan cities. So you have major four cities in India. So like you have Chennai, you have Mumbai, you have Delhi, Calcutta, and Bangalore. So these are the major cities, and Bangalore's always been the garden city and tech city. I think Hyderabad also is evolving, yes. So it's also one of the major tech cities.
Of course, this is why we are connecting with each other today, despite all the technical issues. The Bangalore is a tech center for India, for providing a lot of experts who are going all over the world, providing expert services with the IT industry. IT technology is what Bangalore is known for. So if you are in that particular sector, which is, we call that the digital sector, that is going to be prevalent more and more and more in our lives. If you look around in your house, where you have Alexa and you have Siri, you have so many different mediums, and the whole house is now run literally off your mobile phone. So tech is very important part of tomorrow's world, and with our job situation, how it's going to be, it's all the more reason to get involved with this industry for your future generations, Iqbal.
Yeah. Well, yes, that as you rightly said. So there's a lot of smart homes. I think it's no more the part of the interior design that you want to do. Aesthetically, looking at the house, that this is what you want to do as part of your interiors, but you want to make sure that you're making your homes more smarter nowadays. Like you have. Like you said, everything is controlled on your mobile devices. So it's just not mobile payments or mobile deliveries of or any other platforms. But I think controlling everything on your fingertips is more important. So nowadays, so people choose these smart homes options, and they can probably have their lights switched on. They can have the ACs turned on, secure the locks, etc., etc. So I think everything is being controlled. But I think it has its own advantages and disadvantages as well. So me being in IT for more than 20 years, I will always think from a security aspect of things as well. So who can hack into my system? Who can hack into my home using technology? So that's a big thing. So you've seen so many advances towards technology, but I think security plays a bigger role to make sure what is key and what is essential for a home is what you need. You don't need um, everything in the bag, right? So that's important. Security is a big player for me, and it's just not having everything on your fingertips.
Well,
Yeah,
yesterday, Iqbal, we had Brother Safraz, who was into cybersecurity, working for one of the majors in the world, and he exemplified to us all the different ways where your systems are hacked, and that's something you've touched upon. So it's all the more important that all the techies that we have access to we get them all together and see how they can support and help the community, because in the community a lot of people don't have access or even the know-how or the knowledge of these activities, and is some of this we ought to implement into our community centers, our mosques, and to explain to the public as to what is happening. And this is what I'd like to do. Iqbal, when you return from Bangalore, we can put some measures in place for this.
Inshallah, in a few weeks' time, inshallah, I should be back. Yeah, so I think the cloud, apart from security, there's cloud as well, which is a big boom nowadays. So you have AWS, you have GCP, you have Azure, so all these are big competitors out there in the market. So every service provider now, be it Apple or be it Samsung or any even PC World you go to, they offer you free cloud service or probably cloud service for a nominal price. So where is this data being stored? It's your personal data which is being stored on cloud. So who's managing this cloud space, and how secure is the space? So I think we gotta make awareness of is it really important to store everything and anything on cloud, because you have your bank statements being stored by the banks on cloud. So I think the awareness is very important, and the security aspect also is important. What is really important for us to keep on cloud, or can you just store it on your local device, or probably some storage which is local to yourself, for you to be more accessible, etc., etc. So nowadays people are always on the move, and they want everything on their fingertips. So they always choose some of the cloud providers. So it's really important to understand what are the advantages and disadvantages at the same time.
Of course, some of the words that Kapal has used there are alien to 80% of the people listening right now, or even 75%. But often when I say these percentages, somebody always calls back to say that it's not 75, it's not 80, it's 90%. So I think really
Yeah.
we all need to learn. Every day is a day of learning. There's a lot of interesting stuff in the world of technology, and whether we like it or not, we have to adapt to this change. This adapting to change is something we have been always mentoring on Radio Ramadan. We call it the ATC, Adapt to Change. And inshallah, after the radio, this is another things to do list. This will go on our things to do list, is to bring people together and explain technology to them. You have 9-year-olds who are now doing some fantastic work code writing. So Iqbal, can you talk to us a little bit about that? In Bangalore, I've read a lot of stories on the YouTube about 9-year-olds who are doing work which was not even done in a university some years back.
Yes, so there's been a huge interest in most of the schools, and most of the I would say the younger generation wanting to learn more of coding. I think this all started off with there's a Microsoft tool that's called Swish, I guess Swish or Swift. I'm forgetting what that is exactly, but I think it encourages the younger, the younger generation, less than 10 years or 12 years, to more of a drag and drop tool, and also a little bit of tweaking on the code to come up with small games, right? So this it started off with small games, and then there was a huge interest because there's a lot of IT, IT installed in most of the parents, especially in Bangalore. So they always encourage the kids to do some Cisco certification, or some of the other basic coding certifications. Um, and there was, I think that I read a few articles about a few kids who have shown significant interest in doing and learning more of coding, and seeing the end result, be it on various technologies. It could be C, C++, or Unix, etc. So it's all these are basic commands, which I think it's very difficult even for a normal, probably an adult to get over with. But I think the kids are more focused and driven, so they kind of um, get used to it, and then they start developing these small games, and that's how I think it's evolved. And it's more of a trend. What I'm seeing here in Bangalore is so many institutes who are training young kids. But at the same time, I think we should not, um, you know, um, well, you can encourage and you should encourage, but I think we should not burden the kids. To be honest, coding is sometimes taxing with hundreds and thousands of lines of code. But I think here people tend to push their kids to an extreme to perform because of the competitive nature in India. So I guess kids need to enjoy what they're learning as well. So that's how I look at it. And if they are developing something, even if it's small, the encouragement will definitely lead them to achieve more success rather than pushing them to learn more and more. So yes, I think myself and Zed, we've been talking about having more of these sessions to encourage the younger generation and the younger youth and the kids for early coding as well to see how they can benefit much earlier in the years, to be honest, and plus we can also encourage the kids to give them some kind of life projects as apprentice, so that they can benefit from utilizing that as an avenue for them to seek jobs or whatever, when they turn 16 or when they turn 18. So that'll give them not only the confidence that they've executed a few projects, but also something to showcase as part of their CV and career.
Of course, this is very important. What Iqbal has touched upon is kids are spending hours and hours on games. If we can take that same technology, what they're learning playing games, and apply it to being more creative, it will certainly help them when they are 16, 17, when they have to apply for a job. If they don't go to further education and they want to go into a work environment, those skill sets are going to be absolutely essential. It's going to be a difference between you getting a job and not getting a job. So today you can see that home working, due to the pandemic, has become the norm. So a very high percentage of people will continue to work from their home if it's a kind of a job that allows you to do that. So what Iqbal has touched upon here is something we all have to be absolutely aware of and become active in implementing those skill sets. So what I'm saying to all the parents listening in right now, your children, divert their attention from the games that they're playing to learning more skills on their computers. Today, a laptop or a PC at home, a kid is learning how to use a computer at the age of 3 years old. And this is how the world is changing, Iqbal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a 3-year-old would definitely know how to use a mobile phone, or probably go onto YouTube and turn on his favorite cartoons. So that's how tech savvy kids are nowadays. So
So I heard last week where a year and a half old kid was activating Google and on Alexa, on Siri, and at the year and a half, and by the time that kid is 3 years old, will know how to switch on a laptop or a iPad and find the game that they're looking for, and this is where we are heading now. So the children are becoming very, very early, at a very early age, indoctrinated into the digital world, Iqbal.
yeah, yeah, I don't disagree.
So
So it's
is it the same in India?
yeah, I think India is much more, I guess I would say, because every kid
So much
here
more in
has
India. So it's
is
more prevalent
glued
there.
on to
The kids are getting
yeah,
more into the digital world than
yes,
we are here in the UK. So
yeah,
across the world, the differences between us are breaking down due to the digital world, because years ago, when we only had a book to read or our teaching qualities were different, but now remote learning is the key. People are even having you're living in the USA and your kid is learning how to read the Quran from someone in
yes,
India or Pakistan or Bangladesh. So this is something that never happened before. So
Yeah.
access remote is been going on for quite some time, but it's going to increase even more, Iqbal.
No, you're right. Absolutely. I think this COVID situation has definitely thrown everyone at surprise because we were so reluctant to working from home, and companies were very apprehensive. But I think now, if you see, every organization is operating remotely. So we've pulled this off more than 12 months now, and it is possible. So for me, to be here in Bangalore at the same time working as well remotely is a blessing in disguise. So I can still work. I'm not disconnected from work. But I think it's all about it's just not going to the office, physically being present. But well, yes, some businesses would demand you to be at work. But there are pros and cons. You don't want to be too stuck in the house working remotely always. You have um, your 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 private zones being so much with the family and so much with the work for you to stress and de-stress yourself. But on the advantage side of things and cost effectiveness, there's very less travel or no travel at all. There's a huge saving there. So large companies are saving on infrastructure and liabilities as well with regards to insurances they have to pay for employees coming into the office, etc. At the same time, what I'm hearing is people are being more productive working from home. Well, I think so a few work-life balances have been a bit probably on the other end, but I think by and large there are far more advantages for, I would say, at least for the IT companies or the IT segment as compared to the other industries. It could be the hotel industry or the restaurant business, etc. So those have to be operated on physical premises, on the premises itself, and for you to be physically present. But I think it is the way of the future. I guess most of the industries which can operate remotely will operate, and will also look at giving that or leaving that flexibility with the employees. I know quite a lot of UK companies have already taken a stride in that direction. So yeah, so working remotely will definitely be the way of the future, as you said.
So certainly, Iqbal is currently in Bangalore and he's working remote over there. So it like kind of makes me feel that I should be doing this radio program from a sunny island in Mombasa on the beach, and that is possible
Yeah.
to do. Iqbal, I'd like to do that very much. I wish I could, but going forward, we have to obviously all of you that are in this sector, please do get in touch with us at Radio Ramadan, and we'd like to compile a list of all the professionals in this sector, so how we can then come all together and help our community and even people who are outside of our community. There are many experts in this field to do some work together as a team and empower our children. This is our next generation. If we don't get it right for them, then we will have let them down. And that's what we are saying today. So Iqbal, today it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, engaging with you all the way from Bangalore. And I'd like you to say a Ramadan message to the people in Leicester. And then we are closing for the morning.
Firstly, thanks a lot, Zed, for bringing me on. So I'd request everyone to pray for, I'm sure you pray for everyone. So Ramzan Mubarak and Ramzan Kareem to everyone. May Allah bless everyone with happiness and grant all that they desire and with their wishes. Thank you all, and thanks, Zed, for having me on.
Thank you very much, Iqbal, and that was an absolute pleasure to have somebody from India connect with us on Radio Ramadan. So it is every day we like to have a different person from different communities, from different parts of the world to connect with us and talk to us about their experiences with the COVID, with the pandemic, how you're coping, and to support each other, to know what's happening on the other side of the world, what's happening in our city, what's happening in our country. And that's what this week we've focused everything on the pandemic. We came out of it, we're not out of it. It's going to take some time. So in this time, please be mindful and be extra careful, be vigilant. And I'll look forward to speaking to you all tomorrow morning with another wonderful guest. Jazakallah khair to all of you. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
listening in today.